It provides consistency. So no matter who is going to be doing the project, no matter who is going to be doing the task, each of those people will follow the specific checklist that I have given them. No matter who it is, no matter what level they are, no matter how long they've been with my company, whether it's their first day or whether they've been with me for 3-4 years, everybody is following the same system, and so we should have the same outcome. This taps into me, this taps into my old scientific method type of thing. As you know, I was a school teacher for 15 years. I taught anatomy and physiology. You probably remember your science classes when you would go back to the lab and you would do labs in your science class. The labs that were in the book for you to follow are labs that have been done for the last 30, 40, 50 years. They are labs that if you do step by step by step by step, you will come out with the same outcome. It's one of the steps of the scientific method, is you have to be able to test your hypothesis. And if you do it correctly, then somebody else should be able to come and go through your same procedure and come out with the same results. If they don't come out with the same results, either they didn't follow your process or your process is not sound. So it's the same idea as we're putting together your checklist. This will provide consistency no matter who is doing it. You might find yourself, and I've been in this place before. All right, oh, it's almost the talking heads there. You may find yourself. Okay, I'm sorry, so I shouldn't have done that. All right, sorry, I'll get off of that. But here we go. So the thing is here with consistency, you may find yourself going, well, I can only give this to Jimmy, or I can only give this to Consuela. All right? So the idea here is if you can only give it to certain people because they're the only ones that can do it, I'll just let you know, you're in kind of this red warning track here because you don't have consistency. You probably don't have a system that people can follow. You have people that can do things that you want them to do. Once again, I just want you to be careful with that. If you build your business on the back of people, all right? It doesn't mean that you don't want good people, but if you build your business on the back of good people, they just always do the right thing. What is it? I don't really know, but they always do it the way that I want them to do it. If you're building your business on the back of people rather than on the back of processes, then as soon as that person needs to go someplace else, they move somewhere else, they get married, or their life circumstances change, then you're in trouble. Because when they leave, they take all the golden goose. They take all the information. They know where all the bodies are buried. They take it away with them. Have you been in that spot before where you knew that somebody that's been in your company for a long time, that they do a great job, and all of a sudden you know that they're going to be leaving, and all of a sudden in a panic and in kind of this whirlwind you go, okay, I need to know everything that you do. I need to know how you do it. All of a sudden there's like this wave, this revelation of, I need to figure out what you're doing so that I can pass it on to somebody else. Can you stick around and train someone else? All right, can you do that? Have you been in that spot before? Again, this happens all the time. We ask them to stick around and train them, and they stick around and train them, but again, nothing's written down. And so when we go from one person to the next person, we lose some of that value. So we have to write it down to provide consistency in the activities that are being done. Another great word for this idea of checklist is workflow. It's simply the step-by-step system of the workflow. So let's see. We're going to say here, number 3 is that it provides clarity. And I'm going to say step by step. So many times, it just happens all the time, guys. So many times what we can do is we can get in that trap of all we can think of is the outcome. We know that this needs to be done. whatever this is. This needs to be done. I need you to go do this. And we get focused on the outcome. But unfortunately, what happens is we don't put together any type of step-by-step instructions on how to get from A to B. So we just delegate an outcome to somebody. I want you to produce this outcome, but we have not given them the steps to produce the outcome. So they go and try to do it, and they struggle, and they're stressed, and there's anxiety because they're not really for sure how to do it. So it takes a little bit longer. They come and say, hey, I know it's a little bit late, but here it is. And we go, no, this isn't what I want at all. Go back and make these changes. And they have to go back and make the changes, and then they bring it back. It's like, no, how come you can't think? I just can't believe this. Why don't you just do what I'm telling you to do? Don't you just get it? Again, because we haven't done this, and we haven't done this right here. It just expands the length of time to get something done. Until finally, all right, here we do, here it comes. Until finally, as a manager, we just say, here, just get out of the way and let me do it. Because I'm the only one that can do it. No one can do it as good as me. And we find ourselves getting trapped back in the worker mode of, if you want it done right, you got to do it yourself. Okay? So again, if there are things that are consistent, okay, let me see right here, another great benefit is it puts, we do this primarily for used with recurring activity. Things that go on every single day. Things that go on every single week. Things that go on, that you know go on every single month. These are the activities that we want to put into a checklist, because this recurring activity, if it is something that goes on every day, guys, I promise, you got to get it out of your head. You got to get it out of you trying to figure it out or remembering the steps every single day. If you don't have it written down, now you have to remember, which means that you're going to have to stop and think about it. And if you're like me, there's many days where your world, your life, your day is moving at a pace, and you just don't have time to sit down and think about it. And so as a result, that activity kind of gets pushed off to the side so you can do these other things that are moving at pace for you. Is this making sense? So again, you want to get this thing taken care of, all right? You want to get this thing taken care of by producing a checklist for every recurring activity that goes on every single day. That's why I used the illustration earlier. There may be, as you open up your shop, there is a checklist for opening your shop. When it comes to checking employees as they come in, there's a checklist. If you do a morning huddle meeting, which I strongly encourage you to do, we're going to talk about that in our last session here in the management series here. But if you do a morning huddle, there's a checklist for you to follow with every morning huddle, getting everyone together. When it comes to assigning work, there's a checklist. For each of the activities that you know take place every single day, there's going to be a checklist. So, as we talked about, the price for ambition, okay? The price for ambition is that you have to be super organized. Before you delegate to others, first you have to be responsible. You have to become a responsible executor of your own tasks. Again, if we're not careful as managers and as leaders, we will devalue the importance of writing down exactly how we want something done. Now again, if you're not careful, I'm going to come up with a quote that I'm going to toss to you here in a moment, and it's going to catch you off guard here. But the idea is that we don't put value on checklists. We just want people to do what we tell them to do. All right? Okay, you can keep doing that, but you're going to find yourself consistently in a place of frustration, because you're going to find that people can't do what you're telling them to do because they aren't thinking like you. They don't have the capacity. They don't have the skill set. They don't have the knowledge. They don't have the ability to do exactly what you're asking them to do. So what you and I have to do as leaders is we have to put it into a checklist. Is this making sense? Some of these values of what a checklist can do from you. It's time for you to get organized now. I love this quote by John Wooden. You see a picture here, him with all of these trophies and everything. He says, it's the little details that are vital. Little things can make big things happen. But if you and I as managers, if we're going, we just want them to do it because we don't want to take the time to write it down, then you're going to find yourself consistently chasing your tail. You're going to find yourself consistently being frustrated with people. The way to solve that is to begin to get it out of your brain exactly how you want it done. Now, you may be a manager over a department that you are not the expert in. Okay, you're a manager, but the actual work that's being done, you're not the expert in that work. So what you need to do in that case is you need to find in your team who is the expert, and you need to begin pulling out of their heads what is the step-by-step instruction, what is the step-by-step checklist that we need to have in place so that other people can be as good as you. If you don't reproduce the experts that are on your team, and again, what's going to happen is you just have the experts as long as they are there, and then all of a sudden when they get distracted and go someplace else, you no longer have an expert. Okay, this is huge, all right? I want to tell you another story about a sales team that I had in Chicago. So I'm heading up to Chicago to do some sales training, a day-long sales training with this national sales team. And I'm talking to the person that's hired me, the owner of the company that's hired me to come and talk with the sales team. And I go, can you give me the name of your top one or top two salespeople? I'd like to get together with them. So they gave me their name, gave me the contact. So I called the first one, all right? I don't remember her name. I remember it was a female. The other guy was a guy. The other guy was a dude. The other dude was a dude, okay? So I give him a call. First thing I say, hey, how are you doing? My name's Clay. I'm going to be coming to the sales training that we have in a couple months. And it's nice, it's nice. And so I'm going, hey, I'm calling you because you have been identified as the top salesperson nationwide for your company. And what I'd like to do in our sales training is I'd like to start transferring some of your mojo to other people. So I'd like to talk with you a little bit and interview you on what you do that makes you such a great salesman. And her very first comment was, Clay, I don't know, it's just kind of natural for me, I'm going, okay, I get that, but talk to me a little bit about when you're making phone calls, what do you say to people on the phone? And she's going, well, Clay, I don't know. I don't really have any written script. I never did really like scripts. I just kind of get on, just kind of feel it out. I'm going, okay, just kind of feel it out. Okay, cool. So when you first start out, what do you start talking about? She goes, just whatever feels natural. And I'm getting more and more frustrated in this phone call because this gal is the #1 salesperson in the company for the nation. And she has no idea what she's doing. She has no clue of the step-by-step process. So as a result, I can't reproduce her. Now again, in the sales world, this could be by design. Clay, I don't want to tell you what I'm doing because if I tell you what I'm doing, if I give you my secret sauce, you're going to give it to other people. It's like, yes, that's exactly the point. I want to get it to other people. But if she was in this competitive mindset where she didn't want to share her knowledge with other people, now I've got some problems. Okay, so I ended up finishing the phone call with her, and I called the other guy. Hey, how are you doing? I'm Clay. I'm going to be coming to the event. I'm talking to him. Same thing. I start doing the interview. So what's some of the mojo? What are some of the things that you do to help you be the salesman that you're doing? Well, Clay, I don't know. I've just been doing it for a long time, Been in the business for about 22 years. I've just kind of learned how to do this, learned how to do that. Okay, do you follow any kind of a system, No, Clay, I just kind of do it off the cuff. That's kind of my personality, just kind of get a read on the person. Once again, I can't reproduce a feeling. I can't reproduce, I just kind of feel it out. I can't reproduce that. So as a business owner, I can find myself really frustrated that my top salespeople are not writing down their mojo. They're not writing down what they're doing. And so as a result, they continue to be the top salespeople, and the other folks are all squandering and all like flailing around trying to figure out how to sell. Again, it could be by design, where these people are withholding information because of the competition. But if I'm not careful as a business owner, oh man, that can really hurt me. So once again, this is very, very common. We find that people are really good at things, but we never, because we're too busy as managers running around, we're too busy running around to actually capture what is it that makes them awesome. What is it? What do they do each day? What is their checklist that they go through?